You! Oh, son. Come on, fuck you. Fuck. You! Ah, fuck. On your feet, on your feet. So none of this. Nope, ain't nobody want any of that. Ain't nobody want any of that. Come on now. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 2, come on. Testing, testing. We're back in the gym with a little bit of new tech, and we're back with some raw workout footage, but raw workout with a change. So the reason we're going to go raw is because I want you guys to be able to see the workouts and see that they're not these pretty ergonomically thought about, ooh, I'm just gaining some muscle, because it's not. They hurt, it sucks sometimes, you've got to grind through, and that's what I want to show you. So we're going to get back to those kind of raw workouts to give you those motivations to get in the gym and realize this shit is hard work, but enjoyable at the same time. On top of that, what we're going to do is when we go through each exercise, I'm going to show you some of the major errors from when I started that I've learned how to avoid to maximize. It's early in the morning, we can do this. To maximize each rep of every set. And there's some real little things, little teeny weeny little changes that you can make that will make every single rep and every single exercise feel that little bit better, that bite a little bit harder, and just give you a little bit of extra zip on every single rep. So in between each one of me going, I'll be like, huh. So what you saw there was, and then you'll learn some knowledge-y stuff.
Knowledge-y stuff?
Yeah, it's very early. Whew. So, yeah, you might have seen, that wasn't weights, that was some boxing. And this is one thing I've found, this is better than any form of cardio, is to get yourself on the bags. Now, what we've done here is 3 3-minute rounds of boxing, because what I don't want to do is kill myself, but I want to be nice and warm and also test those lungs a little bit. So that's giving me my 10, it's 9 working minutes, your overall time. So you can do 3 minutes on, 1 minute's rest. So your overall working time is 13 minutes. Is that right? 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. So we got 11 minutes of working time because we've got 2 rests. Oh my God. It's also really wise to get in the gym early in the morning until your body realizes what's going on. This is cardio that's going to build muscle. Boxing builds muscle. It also helps push your lungs and your mind in a different way to any treadmill or Stairmaster is going to do. And this is what you want to be focusing on, is being more functional through everything that you do, making sure there's maximal ranges of motion and making sure that you are putting the body through its entire mechanical ability. Because the more that we do that and the better we get at doing that, the faster your gains are going to come, the better your gains are going to be, and the longer those gains are going to last. Now we're going to go from here into the weights. Now another great fantastic thing about doing this is all my joints have been moving, they're nicely lubed up and ready to rock and roll and go and hit those weights without having to do too much mobility work and things like that. So another added benefit. We're going to be hitting up today back and biceps, and we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing that in a traditional fashion that many of you might use, and that's only doing 2 body parts. So we're going to be doing back and biceps, but I would not recommend this to be the way that you train. I'm doing it because a lot of you guys do it and I want you to see that workout. But what you actually want to be doing is high frequency training. You want to be hitting everything at least twice a week. Now if you do that through training 2 body parts per session, that's fine, but I tend to train I tend to train 3 body parts at a time, but I'll do 2 exercises per body part, 5 sets per body part. So I'm getting 10 sets per body part each time, but I'm training them again within 3 days of training them that first time. So everything's getting hit twice a week, and overall they're getting 20 sets per week, which smashes your usual 4 sets of 4 that most people do once a week. So we're hitting them twice, getting twice the stimulus and more volume overall. So if you want to do what I do, you can check out, what can you check out? You can check out all the videos. I have done a 5-day training split, which you guys can check out, which I will have linked the playlist to in the description. Ta-da! Right, let's go hit the weights. So we're going to run these raw workouts like this. We're going to get to the movement. I'm going to talk you through that movement. Then we're going to show you me kind of mid-set and towards the back end of my sets, just to show you guys that we're not like pretty montages where everything looks cool. This is hard, it hurts, it takes focus, there's a lot of self-motivation that has to go into it, and it's about time, you know, I think we showed a little bit more of that and a little bit less of us looking pretty and, you know, all the highlights. Let's start showing you the gritty bits where we're down, we're sweating, it's hard work, because that's what it is, but it's fucking worth it. It's always worth the effort you put in. So, forget the highlight reels, let's get gritty, and let's start with the lat pull down. Future Lex jumping in, because past Lex forgot to tell you that this entire workout is 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps on everything. Don't worry, Future Lex has got your back. And if you want to do high frequency training, then it's 5 sets, but still 8 to 12 reps. Back to the unprofessional, past me. If you go back far enough, could you tell him to invest in Amazon and Bitcoin? And game stocks, and Dogecoin, and Pornhub full screen. So the lat pull down, and we're going to start with the usual one that everybody knows, and that is the wide grip. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to span like an albatross, okay? It's all relative. So if you're not 6'4", you don't need to be grabbing at the edges of the bar. Just grab just past shoulder width apart, but usually just past the bendy point is good for most people here. And all we're going to look to do on this is 4 things. We're going to look to pin ourselves under the pad where we sit down, okay? This is the base of where you're lifting. You need to be able to plant your feet into the floor and drive up into this pad so that none of your body is able to rise. Obviously, as the weight goes up, it's going to want to pull you upwards. So if you have any gap here, that's going to start lifting your butt off the seats, which then means 1, you're using body weight to pull it all the way back through, and 2, you're going to lose that technical form because you're not able to lock everything in. Secondly, we're going to look to pull in our lower core, so that what we're not doing is making the lower back lazy and just and then from there you're going to arch your back. So now what we're doing is engaging our lower back rather than relaxing it and letting it just flex. Now there's 2 ways you can do a lat pull down. You can do it with the scapula retracted, or you can do it with the scapula released. I would advise, if you're new to weightlifting, do it with scapula retracted. Once you've got control, you can then go to actively releasing the scapula, then retracting it before you pull through. So we're going to have a look at both of those quickly now. So as we sit down, we're going to pin our legs under that pad, nice and rigid. Now here, this is scapula released, this is scapula retracted. So you want to be able to maybe practice this. It's actually a really nice way to warm up the scapula. Once retracted, what you're going to do is lift your chest up, pulling your lower core in, and you're going to pull to the upper part of your chest, squeeze that back, but then as you release, you're not going to let those shoulders come up, you're going to release up, keeping that scapula engaged. Now, if you wanted to do a release scapula, at this point you would just let it relax and release. You would then retract the scapula and then pull through with the elbows. So that's the difference. This is retracted, this is release, and then retract. Bang. That's pretty boring, but it's pretty useful information, and if you start putting that into practice, you'll see how different that feels. The final thing you want to be doing with this is always pulling through from your elbows. Stop thinking about pulling from your hands, because what that's going to want to do is make you hitch and pull your traps in. So think about keeping your chest up, pulling through with your elbows, and then releasing, keeping your shoulders down, unless you choose to let them release at the top. And that is it. That is what's going to benefit you mostly on that lat pull down, because what most people tend to do is they're either just letting things release at the top, full negative release, and then just swinging back through, not putting their chest up, which means then they're kind of rounding off and pulling through. Or the best one is where they pull right down to the waistband. I like that one. That's really good. That's like, I don't even know what you call that. Skiing. Skiing, yeah. It's like vertical skiing. Don't be a vertical skier. So now you know what I'm going to be doing. This is what it looks like. Six, 7, 8, let's go. 7, 8, bitch. Oh, god damn. Let's go, last set. Get him. Come on now. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 2, come on. Pull that left side. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1. Oh, god damn it. On your feet. Yeah. Titty check. Titties. Just got no ad revenue. Next up, the seated row. Okay, now this is one that is a fantastic exercise, but it's one that you can kind of just jump on and start lugging away at and think you're working, and there's so many things that can be going wrong here. So let's start with the foot thing. Not the fetish, but the placement. Don't want to be up here. Feet want to be midway on the plate. They want to be planted and straight. Make sure that not one isn't twisting off or doing anything weird. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to reach and grab, and we're going to drive out, and then our legs stay locked. So we're not doing any of this whilst we lift. We've not worms. We're not a little dog. Yeah, none of that. I'm going to show you on this handle, because this is the one that everybody has. During my sets, you're going to see me use this awesome Batman tool belt accessory, because they're just disgustingly nice to use. So same rules all apply. We're grabbing the handle. You see you've got your starting weight on. We're going to drive off with our legs, and then we're going to set our shoulders back. Just like we retracted on the lat pull down, it's the exact same thing. Start right, finish right. Start wrong, finish wrong. So we're going to retract those shoulders back. We're going to bring our chest up. And remember, I said, once your legs are out, they're out. So none of this, no give here. We drive, lift, shoulders back. From here, we're going to lean forward, keeping our lower abs tight. We're going to lean nice and forward, and we're extending from the hips. So what we're not doing is rounding off, yeah? So none of this. Nope, ain't nobody want any of that. Ain't nobody want any of that. So what you should feel here is a stretch all the way down your lats. Because we're keeping those scapula engaged, it's keeping the lats engaged. The whole thing about squeezing your scap down is that you're sitting down, squeezing your lats under your armpits. So from there, we're then going to pull back with our body weight up into a parallel position, at which point we then drive through with the elbows, chest nice and high. What we are not doing, repeat, not doing, is this. Lying back with the weight and then pulling here. Why aren't we doing this? Because watch, as I sit back up to parallel, look where that handle goes. I've not moved my arms. Look at all this range we've not used. You know what that range is? That's the gain range. That's the gain range. That's your contraction range. And by lying down and pulling like this, yeah, what we're effectively doing is this. Partial repping. That makes sense? You connect all of these things together, you end up with this. Drive, shoulders back, lean forward, core tight, chest up, stretching the back. Then we pull up with our upper body, chest high, drive through with the elbows, drive with the elbows, squeeze, chest up, chest up, chest up, and then return back from the arms, then follow it back with the body. And you end up with this beautiful, smooth, controlled motion that even when you start getting a lot of weight on, you can really shift through like boom, as long as you concentrate on keeping those shoulders back and chest up, you will maintain the right movement. No lying down. Once you get heavy, I'm going to give you one more tip on how I like to set up and start the heavy sets, because obviously you're not going to be able to just lift it and retract your scapula nice and easily. So here's a little handy hint. This is going to look like I'm breaking all the rules I just told you, but watch, it sets it up okay. I'm actually going to lie all the way back down, but there's a reason for it. So I'm going to lift off, and then I'm going to lie back with all my body weight. So I've not used any shoulders at this point. I then set my scapula here, because now you see, it's as if I'm kind of stood up and the weight's below me, so I can safely set my shoulders. Then from here, I'm going to leave my arms extended and sit back up to that perpendicular finish point. Bang. You see I'm already in that perfect posture. And then from there, you can rep out safely, because you started right, you'll finish right. Oosh, wisdomous. 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, come on. Yep. Fuck. On your feet, on your feet. Fuck you, Sam, fuck you, reps. Fuck you. Next up, and this one is not used enough in my opinion, and that is the pendlay row. So you're going to need a barbell on the floor, usually the deadlift area is a good spot. Get yourself on one of the old power racks. And what we're going to look to do here is we're looking to do some dead stop pulls. So what that means is we're going to literally touch this bar down every time in between each rep, which is not normally what you do, but for this, it's brilliant. So with your feet hip width apart, all you're going to do is come up to the bar, and we're going to be over it. And what we're going to look to do is we're going to be pulling this bar up towards the lower chest. And what we're going to look to do the whole time is keep our lower core tight on our lower back. We don't want it rounding, we don't want it over the arch. We want to keep it neutral and flat. So we're going to engage by pulling our lower core towards the ceiling, and then we're going to pull our scapula back. And what this should do is give us a really nice rigid core. From here, what we're going to be looking to do is pull the bar up, squeeze, and then we're going to literally touch it back down. So from here, pull, lift, touch back down, bang. So what we're not doing is deadlifting, we're not raising with the body. We're looking to drive up, explode, squeeze, and down. So explode, squeeze, down. So you see we're fighting that negative. Exploding up, contraction at the top, fight the negative on the way down. What we're not doing is this, which you'll see a lot of. Yeah? It's like a clean and jerk. Everything we want to be doing here is controlled. If you cannot pull it and squeeze, it's too heavy. Lighten the load. The more that you get time under tension, the more contraction you get, the more growth you're going to get. So who cares what weight's on the bar as long as you're doing that? Because if you put too much weight on there, you're not being able to squeeze, you're not being able to contract, you ain't going to grow. So you're coming in here and not optimizing your time. As I pull up, I'm going to exhale, and I'm going to strengthen that core even further. So I pull my lower abs in, but as I blow out, I'm going to tighten my core. So it's control, fight. Just to get this nice, clean movement, but no lugging, no upper body shift, keeping that core tight, lower back neutral. So like I said, what we're looking to do, we get this up in between that flared and narrow, and just rep, make it nice and continuous, nice and strict. So we concentrate on every rep. Touch, reset. And you're just getting that rhythm. Oh, this is really going to hit all that upper back. 10, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12. So, this one's a great one because it tests your breathing, it tests your physicality, it tests your mechanism, and you're going to want to round off. You're going to want to bend that lower back. Don't let it happen. Sacrifice 4 reps to get better earlier reps. Don't, you know, if you're trying to hit 12 and you only hit 8, that's better than hitting 8 good ones. It's better than hitting 12 mediocre ones. Pendlay row, great upper back exercise. It also sucks. Okay, come on, hit it. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 3, 4. Got 2 reps. Up. You. But they just suck the life out of you, these two. Soul suckers. Right, so 3 in. Final exercise for back today. It's going to be a variation of a landmine row. Now this uses the T-bar fixture. So what you see this normally is you've got the bar mounted at the bottom in a hingy thing where you put the bar in. What you'll see a lot of time is people obviously having the handle here and they're lifting through the T-bar rows. We're going to do a variation where we come out at the front, and what we're going to look to do is grab the actual end of the bar and we're going to lift unilateral, so we're going to do single arm at a time. We're going to do left side and right side. The great thing about this is if you have any imbalances or you feel one side stronger than the other, or you've got kind of like offsets, this is going to really help you find that balance and start evening up those sides. And then we've gone from all variations through the workout. We've gone from wide with the lat pull down, narrow to with that seated row, and then we've hit the mid variations as well between the pendlay and this. So grabbing the end of the bar, what we're going to look to do is you can leverage on the other side by placing your palm, but you're not going to need that until it gets a little bit heavier. We're going to do the same as the pendlay row, and we're going to look to pull our core tight. We're going to keep our chest up, shoulders back, and we're going to lift and squeeze. So you see how I've got my other hand is on my knee here? That's just to stabilize and help me keep this shoulder on a nice even keel. What I don't want is this shoulder dipping and twisting or pulling back with it. We really want to separate left from right on this. And it's a lift, but we're not touching down. So real nice concentrated squeeze. And what you're going to feel with this on is you're going to feel it from the outer lat all the way wrapping around into that lower midsection. This is a really great one as well for making that lower back work again. So if you're like me, you've got a lazy lower back, this is a kick-ass movement for really engaging that and making it work. I guess we better do it then. Squeeze. Come on now, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. And more. Come on, fuck you. Fuck. Yep. 6, 7, 8, 9. Come on, 1, 2, 3. Come on, you bitch. Let's go. Okay. So now we've got a little bit more weight on here. Doesn't take a lot to really overload you on this. Once you get past that 20 kilos, 25 kilo, the little increments really do pay effect. That doesn't make sense. The little increments really do take effect. So what I'm going to be looking to do now, this is the final set, is I'm really going to brace on the other side. So if I'm lifting on the right side, my left side is really going to be bracing and gripping around my own knee and really locking in all this left side so that I can drive through my feet and press down on my legs with the other shoulder. So I'm going to be like pressing here, pressing down as I drive through my feet. So I'm going to push as I pull. So I'm counterbalancing that heavier weight. It's going to give me more drive and power and stop me having to shift this upper body, which is what's going to want to happen. Whenever we're trying to focus on a point, we want to stop any other bits moving and shifting. It's always the way. If other areas start to come in and you start moving, hips start shifting, shoulders start moving, it starts aching in other places, freaking stop. Take the weight off, reset and refocus. Only go up as much as you can manage with technique. That is always going to be the case. The moment your technique goes, that is failure. Not the moment you can't lift the weight. Because we can all shift the weight, but that ain't lifting the weight. Yeah, come on. Good job. Let's go. Come on. Fucking straight in, stop resting. Ah, 7, 8, bitch. So you really see on that, my left side, I've had left shoulder issues, left glute issues. The left side has to work so much harder than the right side, which is the mechanism to work properly. The left side, I'm fighting it, want to compensate and move and shift. And you can see there, I always kind of die 2 reps before the right side in comparison. So I always take that rest point and then get those better 2 once I've reset, and I don't let everything shift. If you keep letting things shift and you keep letting compensation happen, all you're going to do is train your body to lift with compensation. Exactly what you don't want. Okay, right, before you all start screaming, we are not in a squat rack. This isn't a squat rack. Okay, it is a squat rack, but it's not a squat rack that people are using because there's other ones there.